Welcome to this deep dive.
Hmm.
Today we're going to be tackling some pretty heavy stuff. You've given us court transcripts, police interviews, even personal letters,
Oh, wow.
all centered on the murder of Christy Maro by Akshai
Yeah.
back in 2011 in New Zealand,
Okay.
ready to try to unravel this case.
Absolutely. I think this case is fascinating because it's not just about the events themselves.
Right.
It's about all the questions that they raise about mental health and the legal system and how we as a society handle risk. So we're not just going to piece together a timeline.
Right.
We're also going to analyze the motivations and look for any systemic issues that might have been at play.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of ground to cover here. We need to understand who Christy and Akshai were,
Right.
what led to that first attack,
Mm-hmm.
and how things escalated despite the police being involved.
Exactly. So why don't we start with Christy?
Okay.
She was only 18 years old at the time, studying event management.
Wow.
And from what I can tell from the sources, she was a truly vibrant young woman.
Yeah.
The sources talk about her kindness and her volunteer work, her fundraising.
Mhm.
She even helped a really shy classmate feel comfortable at school.
That makes the tragedy that much harder to grasp.
Yeah.
What about Akshay Chand? What was his background?
So Chan was an intelligent guy,
Okay.
but kind of socially awkward. He had emigrated from Fiji to New Zealand when he was a child, and it seems like his parents' separation really impacted him. He struggled with depression, and he became increasingly withdrawn, immersing himself in books and online chess.
Right.
There's also mention of his fascination with Marxist ideology.
I'm curious about that. Was his interest in Marxism simply academic?
Right.
Or could it point to maybe a deeper dissatisfaction?
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
feeling of injustice that may have fueled his actions?
That's a great question. And it's definitely something we need to keep in mind as we delve further into his motivations.
Okay.
So their paths crossed at a supermarket where they both worked. And Christy, always friendly, became someone that Chan would confide in.
So that takes us to the first attack.
Yeah.
It's chilling to think how quickly things turned dark.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through what happened?
Okay, so on September 6th, 2011, Chan lured Christy to his apartment under false pretenses.
Okay.
He claimed he had consumed a bunch of crushed pills
Oh, wow.
and that he needed her help.
Oh, my God.
But once she got there, he locked the door and he brandished a knife.
Oh, jeez.
And he forced her to undress while ranting about, his perceived abandonment
Right.
and a desire for revenge.
It's terrifying to imagine what she must have gone through.
Yeah.
But the sources mention her quick thinking during this.
Yeah.
Trying to make noise.
Right.
Even contemplating provoking him just to create an escape opportunity.
Yeah, her resilience is remarkable.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
Chan abruptly changed his mind and let her go.
Wow.
This sudden shift is one of the most puzzling aspects of this whole case.
Yeah.
Was it a genuine moment of remorse?
Right.
A fear of consequences? Or something else entirely?
It certainly raises more questions than answers.
Yeah.
And what was the police response after Christy reported the attack?
The police acted pretty swiftly, I think.
Oh.
They arrested Chand and they opposed bail.
Right.
Due to Christie's very reasonable fear and his threatening statements that he had made.
Okay.
However, the Bail Act at the time presented a significant challenge.
Okay.
This is important for people to understand.
Mhm.
The act emphasized a presumption of innocence,
Okay.
particularly for those without prior convictions,
Right.
which Chand had none.
So even though the police recognized the danger,
Yeah.
the legal system had limitations.
Precisely. At the bail hearing, the judge initially denied bail,
Okay.
acknowledging the risk due to the proximity of their homes.
Yeah.
However, she requested further reports,
Okay.
leaving the possibility of bail open.
Oh, wow.
This seemingly minor detail would have tragic consequences.
And how did this first attack impact Christy?
She was deeply traumatized, understandably.
Yeah. The sources describe her struggling to sleep,
Oh, no.
being afraid to be alone, relying on her parents for transport.
Wow.
She was constantly looking over her shoulder, living in a state of fear.
Oh, my gosh.
And there's even mention of a chilling premonition she had,
Really?
envisioning her own funeral.
A tragic foreshadowing of what was to come. Before we get to that second attack,
Yeah.
let's unpack how the legal system works in these situations.
Okay.
Can you explain what a special patient order is
Yeah.
as it becomes relevant later on?
Certainly. So in New Zealand, a special patient order is a legal provision that allows for the indefinite detention of individuals who have committed serious offenses while mentally unwell.
Mm.
It essentially balances the need for public safety
Right.
with the requirement to provide ongoing mental health care.
So it's not a prison sentence, but rather a form of secure treatment
Right.
with the potential for release.
Yeah.
Only when deemed safe.
It's a very complex issue.
Yeah.
And it has ethical implications.
Yeah. But understanding it is key to grasping the outcome of this case.
Right.
Now, going back to Christy, just a month after that first attack, Chand, who was out on bail,
Oh, gosh.
struck again, this time fatally.
This is where the narrative becomes truly heartbreaking. Can you tell us what happened during that second attack?
So Chand went to Christy's home, armed with a knife.
Oh, my goodness.
Tracy, Christy's mother, answered the door, unknowingly allowing him inside.
It's unbearable to think about her horror in that moment.
Yeah,
To open the door to your daughter's attacker.
I know. The guilt and helplessness she must have felt are just unimaginable.
Absolutely. And to add to the chilling nature of this case,
Yeah.
Chand was found at the scene listening to music as Christy lay dying.
It's a detail that's hard to shake.
Yeah.
It suggests such a profound detachment from the reality of his actions.
It raises the question of his mental state. Initially, he confessed,
Yeah,
even claiming that he had an accomplice,
right.
but then things took another turn with the introduction of Pauline.
Oh, yeah, Pauline.
Can you explain who or what Pauline is
Okay.
and how it impacted the legal proceedings?
So Pauline was the name that Chand gave to the voice in his head.
Oh, wow.
It was a manifestation of his schizophrenia,
Okay.
and this led to a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity.
Right.
It's important to note that this defense doesn't deny the act itself,
Okay.
but argues that the individual lacked the mental capacity to understand the wrongfulness of their actions at the time.
So the court had to determine whether Pauline was a genuine manifestation of a severe mental illness
Yes.
or a calculated attempt to evade responsibility.
Right. What did the psychiatric evaluations reveal?
Yeah, what did they say?
Well, there were multiple evaluations,
Okay.
and initially there were conflicting diagnoses.
Okay.
That's not uncommon in these types of cases where mental illness is involved.
Right.
Ultimately, though, the experts did agree that Chand was suffering from schizophrenia,
Okay.
which is a serious mental illness that can significantly impair judgment and perception.
This must have been incredibly difficult for Christy's family
Oh, absolutely.
to lose their daughter in such a horrific way
Right.
and then to have the perpetrator declared not criminally responsible.
I know their devastation is palpable in the source material.
Yeah.
Just imagine grappling with the legal system's verdict
Right.
while simultaneously processing such profound grief and anger.
That's a lot.
It is. The Maros decided to relocate to Adelaide for a fresh start.
It's understandable if they sought a change of scenery,
Yeah.
but I wonder if it also reflects maybe a sense of disillusionment with the justice system in New Zealand.
That's a really perceptive observation, I think. It speaks to the deeper impact of these types of cases.
Yeah.
That erosion of trust in the very institutions that are meant to protect us.
But the Maro family didn't simply retreat.
Right.
They channeled their grief into action,
Yeah.
becoming vocal advocates for bail reform.
Their advocacy led to the passage of the Bail Amendment Act in 2013.
Wow.
This new legislation addressed some of the vulnerabilities of the previous act.
Making it more difficult for individuals considered a threat to public safety to be released on bail.
It's a testament to their strength and determination.
Absolutely.
They turned unimaginable loss into a force for positive change,
Yeah,
aiming to prevent similar tragedies.
hopefully.
But even with these legal changes,
Yeah.
the question remains, could Christy's death have been prevented?
That is the question, isn't it? And that's where the inquest comes in.
Okay.
You know, it's a formal inquiry
Okay.
that's held to examine the circumstances surrounding a death
Mm-hmm.
and to identify any systemic failures or missed opportunities.
Right.
And in this case, the inquest revealed a series of concerning oversights.
What were some of the key findings? What went wrong?
Well, the inquest highlighted a lack of communication between departments
Okay.
and inadequate risk assessments
Right.
and insufficient supervision.
So a lot of things.
Yeah. For instance, the first judge who denied bail requested an electronic monitoring assessment for Chand,
Mm-hmm.
but this was never followed up on. So a potentially crucial safety measure fell through the cracks.
Yeah, due to a breakdown in communication.
Wow. There were also concerns about The level of information provided to the judge who ultimately granted bail.
Yes. It seems she wasn't fully aware of the proximity of Chan's and Christie's homes.
Right.
Which should have been a major red flag.
It seems like vital information wasn't being shared effectively.
Right.
Leading to a flawed assessment of the risk that Chan posed.
And adding another layer of complexity, Chan's family was not properly informed about the level of supervision that he required.
Oh, wow.
They weren't equipped to handle the situation.
Right.
And the system failed to provide adequate support.
It's clear that multiple factors contributed to this tragedy.
Tracy Maro's statement during the inquest is particularly poignant.
Okay.
She said, "More than one hand on the knife."
Wow.
And while Chan was the one who committed the act,
Right.
her words point to a shared responsibility.
Hmm.
A web of failures that ultimately led to her daughter's death.
Her statement encapsulates the essence of the inquest's findings.
I think so. It's not about assigning blame to individuals.
Right.
It's about acknowledging the systemic shortcomings that created the context where this tragedy became possible.
We've discussed the impact on Christy's family
Yeah.
and the legal ramifications.
Right.
But what about Akshai Chan? Where does he fit into this story now?
So after being found not guilty by reason of insanity,
Yeah.
Chan was detained at the Mason Clinic,
Yeah.
which is a secure mental health facility in Auckland.
Right.
And remember that special patient order that we discussed earlier?
Yeah.
That's what governs his detention.
Right.
He'll only be released if he's deemed to no longer be a threat to the public.
Given the severity of his actions
Yes.
and the ongoing challenges of managing schizophrenia,
Yeah.
it seems unlikely that he'll be released anytime soon.
It's a complex situation, balancing the need for treatment
Right.
with the imperative of public safety.
It certainly highlights the ethical dilemmas surrounding mental illness and criminal responsibility.
It does. There are no easy answers.
Nope.
Each case requires careful consideration.
We've covered a lot of difficult ground in this deep dive so far.
We have.
We've explored the events,
Mm-hmm.
the legal proceedings,
Yeah.
and the systemic failures that contributed to this tragedy.
Right.
But amidst all this darkness,
Yeah.
there's also a story of resilience and hope.
Absolutely.
The Maro family's unwavering dedication to honoring Christy's memory is truly inspiring.
Their creation of the Christy Maro Charitable Trust is a testament to their love
Yeah.
and their commitment to turning pain into something positive.
The trust provides scholarships for teenagers
Yes.
to participate in outward-bound courses, which is something that Christy herself had dreamt of doing.
It's such a beautiful way to keep her spirit alive,
Yeah.
empowering others to embrace adventure and personal growth.
And Tracy's collaboration on a book about Christy's life ensures that her story continues to be told,
It does.
reminding us of the light that she brought into the world.
These acts of remembrance and advocacy are really powerful reminders that even in the face of unimaginable loss, there can be healing and hope.
This deep dive has been emotionally challenging,
It has.
but it's also been incredibly insightful. It's forced us to confront these difficult questions about mental health and accountability and the complexities of the legal system. What are some key takeaways that you'd like our listener to reflect on?
Well, firstly, I think it underscores the importance of early intervention and support for mental health.
Sure.
If Chan had received adequate help for his depression and his emerging schizophrenia,
Right.
perhaps this tragedy could have been averted.
Yeah.
We need to break down the stigma surrounding mental illness
Right.
and ensure that individuals feel comfortable seeking help.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And on a broader level, this case highlights the need for systemic accountability.
Yeah.
The inquest's findings are a stark reminder that even seemingly small oversights can have devastating consequences.
It's a sobering thought.
It isn't
It's a sobering reminder that we can't just rely on institutions to protect us.
right.
We need to be aware and informed and engaged in creating a safer society.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
This case isn't just about Chan and Christy.
Right.
It's about a larger societal conversation that we need to be having.
Absolutely. I think we tend to view these tragedies as isolated incidents.
Right.
But what if we shifted our perspective a little bit?
How so?
Well, instead of asking, why did he do it?
Yeah.
Because we should be asking, what kind of society allows this to happen?
That's a profound shift in thinking.
Yeah.
It forces us to look beyond individual blame
Right.
and really examine the broader context.
Exactly.
Mm.
We need to acknowledge the interconnectedness of mental health and social support systems and legal frameworks
Right.
and community responsibility.
Yeah.
Violence is rarely just a spontaneous act.
Right.
It's often the culmination of multiple factors.
So how do we move from a reactive to a proactive approach?
Uh,
How do we create a society where these tragedies are less likely to occur?
Well, it starts with education and awareness.
Okay.
We need to understand mental health
Right.
and recognize the signs of distress in ourselves and in others, and know how to access support resources.
So fostering a culture of care and responsibility is key.
Yes, both individually and collectively.
This deep dive has been incredibly insightful,
It has been.
but also deeply unsettling.
Yeah.
Christy's story is a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the unpredictable nature of the human experience.
That's true. Cases like this really challenge our assumptions about safety and control.
Yeah, they do.
But amidst the tragedy,
Mm-hmm.
there's also a powerful message of resilience and hope.
Absolutely.
The Maro family's commitment to advocacy and remembrance is truly inspiring.
It really is. It shows that even in the face of unimaginable loss,
Right.
we can choose to channel our pain into positive action,
Yes.
creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves.
Christy's story is a call to action for all of us, I think.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we can't afford to be complacent.
Right.
We need to be informed and engaged and proactive in creating a world where tragedies like this become less frequent,
Right.
less tragic,
Yeah.
and ultimately a thing of the past.
This has been a heavy but crucial conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you for guiding us through this complex case and offering such insightful perspectives.
Well, thank you for having me.
For our listener, we hope this deep dive has sparked some reflection,
Yeah.
perhaps even a sense of responsibility. Remember, you are not alone.
That's right.
There are resources available to help,
Absolutely.
and together, we can work towards a safer, more compassionate future.
Yeah, it really is a sobering reminder that we can't just rely on institutions to protect us.
Right. We need to be aware and informed and engaged in creating a safer society for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this case, as we've been saying, it's not just about Chan and Christy. It's
Yeah.
about this larger societal conversation we need to be having. We tend to view these tragedies as isolated incidents.
Yeah.
But what if we shifted our perspective a little bit?
How so?
Instead of asking, why did he do it?
Okay.
Maybe we should be asking, what kind of society allows this to happen?
That's a really profound shift in thinking. It forces us to look beyond just placing blame on the individual
Right.
and examine the broader context.
Exactly. We need to acknowledge how interconnected mental health is,
Right.
and social support systems and legal frameworks
Yeah.
and community responsibility.
Yeah.
Violence, it's rarely a spontaneous act. It's often the culmination of multiple factors.
So how do we move from a reactive to a proactive approach? How do we create a society where these tragedies are less likely to occur?
Well, it starts with education and awareness. We need to understand mental health and how to recognize the signs of distress in ourselves and in others, and how to access support resources.
It sounds like fostering a culture of care and responsibility is key.
It really is,
Yeah.
both individually and collectively.
This deep dive has been incredibly insightful, but also deeply unsettling.
Yeah.
Christy's story is a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the unpredictable nature of human experience.
It's true. Cases like this challenge our assumptions about safety and control.
They really do.
But amidst the tragedy, there's also a powerful message of resilience and hope. The Maro family's commitment to advocacy and remembrance is truly inspiring.
It is. It really is. It shows that even in the face of unimaginable loss, we can choose to channel our pain into positive action, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves.
Christy's story is a call to action for all of us, I think.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we can't afford to be complacent.
Right.
We need to be informed and engaged and proactive in creating a world where tragedies like this become less frequent, less tragic, and ultimately a thing of the past.
This has been a heavy but crucial conversation. Thank you for guiding us through this complex case and offering such insightful perspectives.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
For our listener, we hope this deep dive has sparked some reflection and perhaps even a sense of responsibility. Remember, you are not alone. There are resources available to help, and together we can work towards a safer, more compassionate future.